exercise the vocal chords. It's time for a video. Hello everyone, welcome to another welcome to another video. My name is Alec. Today's a guide video, and we're talking about Azir and his matchups and stuff. Specifically, 3 champions that I hate to fight all the time. Also, large tangent, going off the subject, train derailed. This is a new camera. Hooray! Camera, high resolution. You can see all of my beautifulness and all of the crazy, all of my awful, when I break out, because I just randomly break out sometimes, you'll get to see that in its full, amazing, hormonal glory. Anyway, we're talking about 3 champions today that I don't think Azir can beat really easily. Actually, not even that much, because they're just crazy difficult to fight against. And those 3 are Xerath, Vel'Koz, and Heimerdinger. I didn't cover matchups in the Azir guide video that I made, like, when I came back and started the channel up again. If you want to see that, right there, it's popping up right now. Right now it's popping up the thing you can click if you want to watch the Azir guide video that I made. And it also include a variety of the other Azir guides that I made. Check those out, and you and you can see all the stuff. Today we'll be talking about some of his matchups, some of the worst matchups, and those 3, specifically the 3 worst matchups that Azir has in lane. Big disclaimer, huge, massive, just put it across the screen. Me in the future, put it across the screen, disclaimer, big flashing lights, confetti maybe, I don't know, fireworks. It was the 4th of July when I made this video. This is my opinion, totally my opinion. There is statistics to back this up, because if you go on like things like u.gg or op.gg or something like that, you'll probably see that some of these champions are probably some of his worst matchups, some of his lowest win rates are with these champions. But I didn't do that. I totally only did not look up these things at all. Before I made that, I just so happened to have a gripe with these 3 champions because I recently came across them in some games. So the first one, Xerath, is one of the most annoying champions ever. Actually, no, I shouldn't say once is one of the most annoying champions. No, every one of these is the most annoying champions ever. But Xerath is a freaking sniper. He can shoot you from a million miles away and not care about you at all. He outranges you entirely by like 10 miles. His abilities, if you don't know what they are, his Q is just a long-range laser beam that he shoots. His W is a laser cannon that comes down and slows you if you get hit by the center. His E is a ball of energy. He shoots his balls at you, and he stuns you for a certain amount of time, depending on the distance that the balls have traveled. It's really just one ball, and his ultimate is just a big artillery barrage from far away. So that's just generally what his abilities do. With his kit, he kind of counters you in a large way, being that you're usually a pokey champion. Azir is one of his main attributes is that he pokes really well because of his soldiers and stuff, but Azir does it way better than you because he has like longer range than you through all of your abilities. You rely solely on your soldiers to do damage, and if Xerath isn't even within range of those soldiers, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, he's an immobile champion that can't really get around fast, but it doesn't matter if he's not even gonna get at all close to you. You have to kind of try to get to him, but if you try to do such a thing, you're just gonna get stunned by his ball. His wave clear is very impressive. What? I'm sorry, okay? It's just really impressive. Look, you just have to get better at it, all right? Look, all right? I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. His wave clear is super great compared to you. He can just AoE the minions down, and when he buys some items, he's just gonna one-shot pretty much all the minions with his Q and stuff. So he can wave clear way easier than you, more quickly. He can push, and that makes roaming and things like that really difficult for you. It doesn't mean that he's gonna be pushed up to your tower quite frequently, which means you kind of want to wait for ganks from your jungler, because he is immobile, and if you haven't gotten rid of it, I mean, it's either gonna blow a flash or he's gonna get killed by the jungler and you. So just be ready for your jungler, or ask for ganks if you're having trouble. The other thing is you want to try to farm it out as much as possible, because, well, again, Azir, as I've said before on this channel, Azir is like a really good late scaling champion. So you want to get to the late game. Xerath does do a lot of damage in the late game, but you do way more because you're a sustained DPS mage thing. you do damage a lot, and with items, you definitely get way better than most champions in the mid lane. Another thing about roaming against him, while it is beneficial if you're just getting pushed in, you can't really do much in mid lane, or you pushed him out or something like that, there's benefits to and disadvantages to roaming against him, since he waves clear really quickly. Really quickly. Roaming against him is a little bit harder than the other champions I'm gonna talk about on this list, because he can artillery barrage from far away with his ultimate. So even though he's not gonna be in the lane that you're going to, he isn't kind of in the lane because he can do damage from far away. So as long as, I mean, that's assuming that the Xerath is really good at aiming the ultimate. It's one of the more difficult ultimates to land because it's kind of like this long arc. The travel time of each barrage is long, and so it has to hit like center down. So anyway, those are only assumptions. So just be aware that if you roam, he's probably going to like do some damage from far away. The second champion, Vel'Koz, is for a similar reason difficult because of his long range. On top of that, he outscales you as well, or he does not as well. He outscales you, unlike Xerath, because of his passive. His passive being that he deals true damage to things that he lands his abilities on. So if he lands 3 abilities on something, he does true damage. His other abilities are, his Q is like a plasma balls. He throws out some plasma balls, and the ball splits into 2 balls, and it will slow people that it hits. It does a pretty decent amount of damage. His W is a rift that he creates, and it will do damage and then explode, deal more damage. His E is just like a thing he shoots out, and it knocks people up in a circle. And his ultimate is a disintegration laser. Cool. Just like Xerath, he can take advantage of your predictable like movement patterns. If you just kind of like try to directly shuffle into him, he'll see it coming pretty much, and you'll have to like avoid his E as best as possible. If you get knocked up, you're pretty much gonna either die or have to waste like flash or barrier or something like that. With his true damage, even at like low level, he's going to deal a lot more damage than you really quickly if he lands all of his abilities. So dodging his abilities is pretty much the key to winning against them. It's the key to winning against anyone, but that's like what do you call it? That's like a given. You have to dodge his abilities. Otherwise, you're not gonna do anything. And his wave clear is substantial. Shut up, okay? Your wave clear is not as good. You're just going to have to give into it, all right? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. It's okay. Shh, don't talk. Just go. Substantial. His wave clear is really good and really fast. He can wave clear with his W and his Q, and he'll push really heavily if he feels. Most Vel'Kozes will try to push as fast as possible because they know that they can outpush you and outdamage you and be very safe from far away. The thing about Vel'Koz is that ganks work really well against him because his E is a little bit harder to hit than Xerath's like plasma ball stun thing. And roaming against him is pretty easy if he doesn't follow you. If he decides to stay in mid lane, you won't have to deal with like long range artillery barrages. But wait for ganks, farm up as much as possible. You won't really outscale him into late game because at late game he does a lot of damage, even with just like a few abilities. If he lands 3 abilities on someone, they're pretty much dead because of his true damage. Even tanks have a hard time with him because, I mean, true damage. Like, true damage that scales with AP. Like, what are you supposed to do? And now, the third and final one. I said with the list, this champion is probably the most annoying champion in the game, aside from Yasuo, aside from LeBlanc, aside from Fizz. Okay, you know, not the most annoying champion in the game, but it's pretty high up there. It's a good old ding-a-dong donger man. Get dongered, Jimbo. If you don't know what Heimerdinger does, his Q is places a turret down, and that turret shoots stuff. His W, he shoots a set of rockets in a direction, and they all kind of like, it can converge at an area and like go that way. His E is a grenade that he throws that if he hits you in the center of the grenade blast, it stuns. And his ultimate just basically upgrades one of his 3 basic abilities to be more powerful. So, and his passive, like, I think he gets, like, he is faster around turrets. I think that's it. You and Heimerdinger are very similar because you both are summoner type champions. and you summon minions to do stuff, except his minions are technically better than yours because they don't require him to command them. He can summon them and they just do stuff while he can do other things. Unlike your minions are the way you deal damage, are pretty much your main damage source, and you rely heavily on commanding them actively. So it's a little bit of a disadvantage that you have against Heimerdinger. On top of that, using your shuffle into him is like the worst thing you could possibly do unless you're shuffling him into like the jungler. Because if you try to all in him, he's just gonna like stun you with his grenade, because if he uses his grenade, like the shorter the distance the grenade has to travel, the faster the grenade hits the target. So if you shuffle into him, he's just gonna throw the grenade on top of you, and it's gonna stun you for quite a while. And if he hits you with his abilities, when he hits champions with his abilities, the turrets will charge up. And when they're fully charged, they'll shoot at a blast and deal a lot of magic damage. So if he has a lot of turrets around him, which he probably will, because you can't, like, if you try to kill his turrets, he'll try to retaliate. Any good Heimerdinger will retaliate against you if you're trying to focus down his turrets. So just a lot of things you have to worry about. You have to worry about hitting him because the turrets will aggro onto you. If you try to go at him to the turrets, he'll try to retaliate and trade with you, and all of that in between. So also, if you don't have a jungler that has a lot of CC, like a tank jungler like Shinzwani or Zac or Jarvan, then you're kind of running into a 2v1 that you probably lose, because Heimerdinger can turn a 1v2 in his favor really quickly by like placing down his big turret or using his enhanced W to kill the jungler, because he does a lot of damage with that thing early on. His wave clear is, ooh, girthy. Stop. What? It's not a, look, I'm sorry. Shut up. Go away! He wave clears really quickly, really easily. He can just set up a place for himself and establish a presence in the lane. If you try to like I said, if you try to all in him, you most likely die. If you get help from the jungler, you have to have a jungler that has a lot of CC that can lock him down so he can't use any of his abilities. Otherwise, the turrets are just gonna eat you apart, and he's gonna just blow you up with his turret damage and his abilities and his enhanced abilities and stuff like that. And he'll most likely bring teleport, which means he can gank pretty much any lane. A common thing that I see Heimerdingers do is that they'll go up until they'll reach level 6. They'll go back for their first item and teleport to somewhere like bot lane, where they can have basically Heimerdinger can be like almost the equivalent of 2 people sometimes because of his turrets and his other and them. So he'll go and gank another lane. So you have to punish him for leaving the lane as best as you can by pushing up to the tower. And yeah, just like Xerath, you have to farm it out and get to the late game, because while Heimerdinger is useful, he does fall off later in the game. You are better in the late game than him, so trying to get to the late game as fast as possible. Well, I say fast as possible, just being patient is the most important thing. And actually, if there's any bottom line to this, it's be patient overall. I mean, be patient in games all the time, but especially if you're in a matchup like these where Azir isn't in a good spot against these champions, being patient is the best thing, because I know that when I do worse when I lose my patience against like difficult matchups. If I'm having a hard time with someone mid lane, I definitely lose my cool, and I'm like, okay, I just played poorly. But when I'm patient and I just like focus on like one thing, like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on farm because I don't think I'm going to be able to beat this champion, or I'm getting ganked a lot. I just have to be patient. I have to be vigilant and look out for people and stuff like that. Those are some things you can do that help you out in the long run. So that's it. Those are the 3 champions that Azir can't beat easily. But yeah, hopefully that helped you out a little bit. Hopefully you got something from this. Leave a comment down below and tell me. Again, these are just my opinion. I mean, there is some statistics that back this up, but it's really just win rates, and that's only like half the picture. Sometimes it depends, and obviously it depends on the person playing the champions, if they're good enough to play them against you, if they really can fight Azir and stuff like that. But overall, hopefully you got something out of this. Let me know if you have had issues with these champions before, if you think they're easy, if they think there's champions that are more difficult than them. Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. It helps me out a lot. And also subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me. I make league content like this, and guides. Oh, this is kind of a guide. Guides and League of Legends gameplay stuff, and I'm working on other things. I say that all the time. I really am working on things. They're just like long-term projects. Like, in the future, we'll work on these. But yeah, also hit the notification, the bell. Ring the bell. Smash the bell. Punch the bell. Lick the bell. Lick it. You know you want to. Also, make sure around the bell there's like, if you want to get notifications every time I upload a video, make sure that like the little like lines above the bell that like are filled in, that signifies that it's gonna be a notification every time I put up a video. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.